At the side of our studio, Emma James of MediaWatch. Good evening to you. Starting with reaction to the shooting, well, the massacre in Las Vegas. What more have we learned about the gunman?
Yes, it is the question that everybody is asking. Who is he and why did he carry out this mass shooting, the worst in US history? Stephen Paddock is the man in question, 64 years old, living in a retirement community in Mesquite, a city in Nevada. This is the most commonly seen photograph of him that's doing the rounds. Now, of course, the Islamic State group has said that he was acting as their soldier, carrying out their wishes, but there is no proof yet that there is any kind of link at all. The FBI themselves saying they have seen no link. The Islamic State group says he was converted to Islam recently, but we have no way yet of knowing if that is true. Very different picture painted of him by the Chicago Tribune, for example, which talks about the fact that he liked to gamble, listen to country music, and lived a quiet, retired life before carrying out this shooting. His younger brother, too, has been giving a number of interviews in which he has spoken of the fact that the family are dumbfounded, and he wept as he talked about his older brother, saying he wasn't an avid gun guy. Apparently, he said he might have had a gun or two, but he certainly didn't imagine that his brother had this cache of weapons that was discovered in that hotel room in Las Vegas. He also said that he had no particular religious or political affiliations as far as he was aware. He said he was just a guy who lived in Mesquite and liked burritos. One thing that is rather curious and interesting to note is that the men's father, Benjamin Hoskins Paddock, who went by a number of other names as well, including Old Baldy and Big Daddy, actually made it onto the top 10 most wanted list for the FBI. There he is. He had carried out armed robberies of a bank. He escaped from jail, then went on the run. On the poster, he is described as psychopathic, reportedly suicidal, should be considered armed and very dangerous. Now, the New York Magazine is one to point out that perhaps we shouldn't visit the sins of the father on the son. However, they say it is as relevant to look at this as it is to speculate about possible links to the Islamic State group. And they also point out that at the age when his father was convicted, Stephen was just 8 years old. When his father went on the run, he was 15. When his father was captured again, he was 26. And it says we can only imagine the effect that that might have had on the young boy as he was then.
Okay, so the gunman found in a hotel room surrounded by a number of weapons. The issue of gun control, I imagine, back front and centre in the US right now.
Absolutely, very much so. The White House, though, has said that now is not the time to have a debate on gun control. Now is the time for unity. If you look on social media, though, everybody is talking about this issue, including Hillary Clinton, of course, the former presidential candidate. Our grief isn't enough, she says. We can and must put politics aside, stand up to the NRA and work together to try to stop this from happening again. Ben Rhodes, who's a former foreign policy advisor to Barack Obama, tweeted this: "We've spent trillions of dollars fighting wars to prevent acts of terrorism. We could save far more lives with rational gun restrictions." And this tweet, very short and to the point: the Second Amendment was never intended to permit mass slaughter. Now, will anything change under the Trump administration? Well, Newsweek has jumped in very quickly to say that they don't believe Donald Trump will do anything to change gun control laws in the United States. They point to the fact that back in April, Donald Trump addressed the NRA and he told them, "You have a true friend and champion in the White House." They don't believe that anything has changed since that moment. Now, this gentleman, another very forthright Trump critic, has said, "For those of you saying this was a case of mental illness, remember this was one of the first things that Donald Trump did." And he's linked to an article which talks about how Donald Trump, within the first month of his presidency, overturned legislation brought in by Barack Obama that meant that people with serious mental health issues who weren't deemed capable of looking after their own affairs would have limits on being able to buy guns. Donald Trump overturned that. We will wait and see whether this massacre and the size of it will do anything to change gun laws in the US.
Emma James of MediaWatch, thank you very much indeed.